Hello, everybody. Hello, you are on the channel Svetlana Gerasimova and her guest. My guest today is Yuri Gimmelfarb. Hello, Yura. Good afternoon, Sveta, and I greet all our viewers. And I want to ask you the first question. Look, soon 8 months as the war going on in your country, and not somewhere far away for thousands, but here it is. Missiles are flying straight, drones are flying, your well-being, and so that we can understand how the Israelis generally feel through your well-being, so that we understood. Sveta, it's a good question. In fact, my health has become better, and I will explain to you. It was worse the first month when I was trying to convey something, and then I found a very good medicine. I threw away political correctness. Many of my viewers tell me that Yura is what you are imagine yourself now and what you were like even 2 years ago. This is heaven and earth. And 7 years ago you apologized at every turn. And now I threw out all tolerance and political correctness at the address of the Russian warship, and began to call things by their proper names. It became easier, it became easy. It became easy. I began to call things by their proper names. I began to say what they really are without any politeness or equivocation. War. Listen, since you started talking to yourself like that, I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu. And it feels like you and he are working in unison. He was also such a flexible politician. He was always such a flexible politician. Yes, the farther you go, the tougher he becomes. Or is it just me that seems so? Well, he is doing the right thing. And he is doing the right thing because with this population, I mean jihadists with them. That is the only way this population understands only the power. It wasn't me who said this at the time. Said on the air Michael Osipovich Weller. The world is driven by two feelings, benefit and fear. Benefit not worked. This lame livestock began to bite the hand that feeds them. We supply them with water, electricity, internet. Well, they didn't understand the benefit. Well, they will fear. Well, here what statement is a very detached, more romantic world driven by love. Forget love. Love drives the relationship between 2-3 people, with 4 people. The world is driven by benefit and fear. Love is also one of the sides of benefit. For that matter, if 2 people love each other, they treat each other well. That is good. But if they don't understand, it will be bad, it's clear. You know that from the very beginning, how the war is going, there are accepted, I even want to say in the past, attempts to break Israel, stop Israel, because this has already been done many times before. A little bit Israel will move his head higher. United Nations will immediately raise its. And that is it. And that is all who were not even called included. And Israel had to give in. But now, and in those 8 months, what attempts has Israel made? Israel dragged out the war. Here, in this, there is the most important concession. The thing is that all this leftist era riff-raff They understood the hard way where everything was going. What am I talking about? The fact is that you understand, well, we know that Ireland, Norway, Slovenia, and Spain. Now I will talk about Spain. Spain. They recognized the so-called Palestinian state. Only one small detail. The Spanish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it issued a very strange demand. It demands that the ministries, departments, media departments stop using the term genocide in connection with the war in Gaza. Do you know, in connection with how it was done? Just Sveta, don't laugh out loud, because now you will be shaken with nervous laughter, and so will our viewers. The fact is that in 2020 there was a decision of Spanish Supreme Court numbered 1327/2020, and it means what kind of decision it decided, recognized the right to personally respond to a request for international protection. That is, if there is a suspicion that the physical integrity of refugee is at risk, the Spanish government does not have the right. It is obliged to deliver a victim of genocide to Madrid, and, if necessary, even hire a private plane or send a plane. Sveta, I warn you not to laugh loudly. I'm seriously telling you guys, check this decision 1327/2020, and the remaining procedure will be carried out on the spot. First to protect people and then figure it out. Are there grounds for asylum? Yes, listen, the fact is that there is one Iraqi family there. They relocated from Iraq to Greece, where it was theoretically safe, and contacted the Spanish embassy. They came to Spanish embassy in Athens and demand that they be taken to Madrid. They demand, that is, when the Spanish media use the expression genocide in the Gaza, famine, and death, they are obliged to deliver to Spain. That is, in other words, any Hamas cannot ask but demand that they be given asylum. And to Spain, on the basis of the same publications, those are the Hamas population having arrived in Spain on the basis of the same publication. Those are the Hamas population, like twice two victims of Jewish genocide. Then he will quote Don Pedro Sanchez. He will also quote Jorik Barel. Then a Spaniard with a Palestinian are brothers forever. The Moors are returning. Now you understand this decision, this request of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sveta. Dear friends, what do you think? I'm joking? Google it. You will enjoy it. This is the most wonderful solution you can imagine. Let all this crap of yours get on a plane and go to Madrid to escape from you. Fuck your mother, it's called. The fact is that it will be a reconquista on the contrary. You know, you understand, that is what I have repeatedly warned about on our broadcast. Israel will fall. Well, okay, if Israel falls, Europe is waiting. Jihad for Spain will be here first. That is why the head of the opposition party, when he arrived in Israel, this the Spanish opposition party. When he arrived in Israel and met with Bibi Netanyahu, he said that first thing my party will do is we will cancel the decision to recognize this Hamas entity of Palestine. So they're normal people there. You understand, guys, where this is all going? It's real now. The Spaniards, the current Spanish government, have given the opportunity to 1.5 million Buddhists from the Gaza Strip and get through any country to Spain or Spanish embassy and demand save us from this fucking leftist. The Spanish government does not have enough brain to simply understand and ask itself question and build a minimal logical chain to think about all this livestock. Not a single Arab country wants to see them. The Jordanians have eaten their fill. Egyptians have eaten their fill. Well, now, as they say, in the country of Fandango and Hidalgo, other assholes. What will the public turn Lebanon into help you as an example? You know, Yura, now our Russian special news media are full of joy that Houthis hit an American aircraft carrier. They hit it perfectly well. The Russian media are happy. They are on the side of the Houthis. And you know, I caught myself thinking that I too am happy for the success of Houthis. Understand me as you wish, and I'm happy for success of Houthis. But now figure out why I'm like this. Why am I having this way incorrectly? And why is it wrong in this situation? This is the success of Houthis. It is due to betrayal of administration of Joseph Biden. A few weeks ago on broadcast with you and I explained on my fingers why Biden is a traitor. America is now reaping those benefits, and you know, Sveta, I am also happy. I'm happy about that sometimes. It reaches people in a cruel way. So I hope that Americans will also get it. Those guys are not Israel's fault. It's not Houthis who are so powerful. This is your Biden, a coward and crap. I warn, I'm tired of political correctness. This is your Biden. He has dipped all of America, the entire great power. He has dipped in a vat with crap. Did I want such a development of events? No, I didn't want to. Yes, no one did. I'm glad too of the light, just like you, that America learned a lesson, and I hope America will draw its conclusion. There is no need to blame anyone. There is no need to blame anyone if you got a crooked face. Yura, and remember the beginning of the war and how the American fleet has advanced and is heading to Haifa. Do you remember our mood at that time? There is a feeling of such security. You need such a machine, such power. Yes, they just wanted to. Yes, they would stop everything. You know, the farther you go, the greater the feeling of bewilderment. But I don't have any bewilderment. I have a feeling of disgust, and disgust towards Biden administration, because you know, world, well, surely any of you have had to observe such a situation when a small little brat simply impudently oppresses a person who is physically stronger than him, and who with one click can put him in his place, in ground. And the reason is that little punk is arrogant and person is a coward. Here we see the same thing. This little punk, the Houthi brethren, this punk is nothing of himself, but it sees that they are giving in to them. It sees weakness. I have said many times on our broadcast, in other broadcasts, and on our broadcast, a savage perceives diplomacy as weakness, perceives only brute physical force. It would be enough for American fleet to simply launch a massive missile strike on South Yemen, so that all these brethren teeth would fly out, as they say. They would shut up instantly. So they hit an American aircraft carrier, and that is how everyone immediately remember Trump, how great he did explanation work, and everyone understood everything. You understand? That is whole problem. I will tell you more. Biden administration plunging the great country of America into such depth of shit that I am not convinced that Trump will be able to pull out in 4 years. Well, please, Biden is already putting pressure on France and Great Britain so that they reduce the pressure on Iran regarding the nuclear program. Well, what do you want to cry or laugh about? Also, it is already becoming known that Iran has more than 140 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. To enrich it up to 90% is matter of technology. And you know what it is? 1 kilogram of enriched uranium up to 90%. Explain. I will explain very briefly. This will complete decay. This explosion is equivalent to 20 kilotons of TNT. It's clear. Everyone understood. That is how much it will blow apart. But for this, thanks to the team of Obama and Biden, deep Russian mercy. Well, since we have America all time now, you know how you would not think about Trump. But there was a trial. Some write differently. Some write that in total they can give 120 years. Well, that is good before. Either 500 or 700 were given. I remember. But others say, no, it's been there for 20 years and there is no light. What nonsense. In short, see, there listen, here, it will flow from here. He was found guilty in 34 counts. Conclusion, he slept with porn actress Daniels 34 times. His lawyer, Michael Cohen, stood next to him with candle. Biden issued law according to which Americans should not fuck. I categorically support it because, judging by the number of idiots who have multiplied in America, they don't need to reproduce. And now, seriously, I had a stream where Yura Taba explained in detail what was there, that $130,000 were monthly payments to Michael Cohen used to allegedly pay these Daniels for silence. Because in 2006, he either once or fucked more than once. Well, okay, I would be with him. Yes, but this is insanity. Think about the situation. Sentencing is scheduled for July 11, and on July 14, Republican Party convention, the official approval of presidential candidate. Well, you understand what kind of insanity this is. It is completely clear that even leading lawyers, even Democrats' lawyers, there is nowhere farther to the left. They even say that, but this is something when, excuse me, the prosecutor speaks after the defense. Yes. What is this when you refuse to invite witness to defense for defense? What kind of insanity? Do you understand that now there is a consistent fight against Trump? A few months ago, I had a video with Konstantin Natanovich Borovoy, and he very amply noted that current democracy in United States is a KPSS 2.0. This is same only with a difference that in Soviet Union KPSS was only party, but here, thank God, there is also Republican Party, but those are really leftist idiots. Excuse me. When was it that America became an anti-Semitic country? Here is news of last day when in state of New York some anti-Semitic scum attacked an Orthodox rabbi. And what is happening now in American universities cannot be said in a fairy tale or spoken out loud. America has become anti-Semitic cesspool. And this speaks bitterly to me because I believed and still believe that America is a great country. I have always been sure that America is democracy. It is the torch of democracy. What have you become, Americans? Tell me, where are people like George Washington, Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan? What do you have left, Biden? Well, go ahead with song. You know, Yura. You are telling this and we are again running into issue of information war. So, side that you and I are represent is, we can say, losing it. We talk about this in every broadcast. Yuri Tabak says it is not allowed. We need to respond to level, otherwise all this will happen. Why politicians? Well, there are some politicians who know how to do this. Yes, then Trump could unite around himself, but either he didn't care about that or he drowned in his affairs. You understand, Sveta? Here we come across a very interesting paradox. The fact is that when a person is right, when it is obvious, he believes, well, why explain when everything is already clear? Here is 2 more, and adding 2 makes 4, and maybe 11. The one who is wrong is one who lies. He begins to invest in information war. This is what happened with Russia when an open aggressor, an openly Nazi country, attacked Ukraine. Pay attention to what Russian propagandists doing. Well, this is beyond the bounds. And nothing is spit in their eyes. Everything is God's due. They paid for this, and in this regard, yes, they confirm, and here the same Hamas population has invested very well in propaganda, and in this situation in Israel, they were perplexed. as to how this could not be compared. After all, we didn't touch them, and suddenly they attack us and commit such monstrous atrocities that make the hair on your head stand on end. But they invested too well in it. I have already mentioned more than once or twice on our broadcasts that $13 billion of Arab money were invested in 200 American universities. When leftists in Europe call Israel oppressor, colonialist, and so on, and various useful degenerates repeat it all, I mean now not only this sick Greta Thunberg, I also mean many of my former friends who, as it turns out, turned out to be without brains. They also repeat this. Yes, this is what is called the paradox of the right person. And Israel also needs to invest in this. We will tell truth. And now you and I are also telling the truth. But we also need our own troll factory and purchase of journalists and bribes to publications. Not tolerant things, but you show your tolerance up your ass. I talked about this on last broadcast. Take off white gloves. This already needs to be done and really brought to attention of people. Yes, bribery and dirty methods. And what is this nonsense? Using pure methods, using the same methods, especially since we are right, Yura. And here I don't even have anything to add. Well, look, Yulia Shmatko writes today, I saw United Nations allocates $80 to refugees everywhere and $320 to Palestinian refugees. Right, this is result of paradox of first stage of information war. They invested well in this matter, so they turn out to be same refugees as Erdogan. They just parasites who exploit the leftist stupidity, and leftists would not understand this is in any way. One simple truth: shoot rabid animals, no matter what, even if you were animal defenders. It should be understood that those thousands of livestock, those are mad animals that need to be destroyed, simply destroyed. Look, Yura, when war began in Ukraine, Zelensky was invited to United States, and that is how happy they would be, States and Russia, if Zelensky left Ukraine. Yes, he flew away, but he didn't fly away. He stayed, and I watched throughout the entire war. As soon as Netanyahu, they didn't break him off. He seems to be such a soft person all his life. He doesn't give in. Do you understand? Call of world for guys. Let's live together. It doesn't work. It just can't work. But problem is that whole elementary problem is that this public is incapable of agreement. Not only is it incapable of existing with people, their goals are only destruction of humanity. universal caliphate. More, they have no other goals. It's impossible, but it's impossible to come to an agreement with someone who is going to destroy you. This is unrealistic. You understand, Sveta? Well, in the end, nothing unnatural. But I propose in the end, kids, analyze their speeches. Take anyone. Take Fathi Hamad, a member of Politburo, or Khaled Mashal, Mahmoud al-Zakr. Those are real people who simply say, our goal is a world caliphate without Christianity. Then there will be world justice. What kind of justice are you? Simply analyze the pink cheburashkas. What are they calling for, and what are they doing now? Do you think that Arab world lives peacefully? No, they are not. They are squibbling among themselves. You know, Yura, you're and my subscriber from city of Dnieper. She writes, I already wrote on Yuri's channel that tolerance is being taught so that people do not react to danger. Their sense of self-preservation is dull, and so that people allow themselves to be killed. Yes, results are correct. You understand, Sveta? The whole problem is that tolerance is good between people of same level of upbringing. Tolerance is good between us. You understand? Yes, you are tolerant of some of my words and actions. I'm tolerant of your shortcomings. We are tolerant of each other. That is what we are. I may disagree with you, but I respect your opinion, and you respect my opinion. But not you, nor me. We are not calling for fact that if you don't agree with me, if you think differently, then you should be killed. And style front of him with the tray. And the style of this jihadist public, I'm in time, show it with one simple example. Here is a man standing in front of him with a tray. He is selling ice cream. A man walks by. He tells him, buy ice cream. The man says, I don't eat ice cream. Then that's it. He looks behind him and leaves. Another person comes up and says, I don't eat ice cream. He tells him, don't buy it. No, I want no one to eat ice cream around me, and I don't want you to eat ice cream. And if you are against it, I will kill you. It looks funny, but this is how the jihadist public thinks. This is how they reason. Well, in that case, yes, those are really animals that should be kept either in the jungle so that they don't go anywhere. And if they try to destroy as they please, consider me not tolerant, and so on. But this is reality. There were times when you said that you didn't care what was happening in America. Times have changed. It's no longer all the same. I already said it not once, not twice, not 22 times. After February 24, 2022, the world became black and white. Unfortunately, not everyone understood this, but this must be understood. World is already black and white. All guys. The Golden Grove dissuaded us. Question is now whether they are us or we are them. They are not going to stop. With them you can come to an agreement. It's impossible somehow like this. Yes, it's probably impossible and probably it's not necessary. Now, that is a good point. You understand, Sveta, at a certain point in time, when you see that negotiations are useless with them, you no longer need to agree for what purpose, so that they just get a temporary respite. It's not necessary. Let's talk a little here. But in specific cases, there was a feeling that initially Hamas behaved like new Russians, whom everything was captured for everything paid for, or like a criminal who knows that he has all his pawns and queens pieces placed in no way. They were not afraid of Israel. They, criminals, were sure that they will get support at any moment, and when it's necessary, at any moment they will say to Israel to stop, and there will not be a war. You are right. You are right. So now Hamas has realized that something didn't work. Well, they start whining, and now there is whining from all this rabble. They understand. They act on principle of playing here, not playing here. We were wrapping fish when they needed it. They threw aside all human norms, all international law. The October 7 would help you. But when this public gets punched in teeth, then they begin to appeal to international law, and those pink idiots are leftists who think that they are oppressed. They are just as virtuous, and they will devour you with all your guts, and don't wince. And then you pink cheburashkas will say, "How is it that we were wrong for you? There is no golden rule in everything. How you want people to treat you and how you treat them, there is no such thing. So try to understand this." Yes, I understand, Yura. In general, look, Egypt understands very well what is happening recently. There was a conflict between IDF and Egypt, but they realized that IDF had nothing to do with it. This is a third party that Egypt will not fight against Israel. And point in this case was simply a border incident, because border incidents of unprepared. Of course, war does not start in this case. It was another Islamist who saw Israeli soldiers about 200 meters away and opened fire. He was simply liquidated. And this is all a normal phenomenon, and soldiers acted according to regulations. With Egypt, there will be another problem now. As you know, the IDF took full control of Philadelphia corridor, and several dozen tunnels were found there. And here the question arises, what about those tunnels? Then all those tunnels go to Egypt, and it was from there that smuggling came from. By the way, what kind of tunnels are those? According to footage, it is clear that those are masterpieces of engineering art. Just day before yesterday, I was talking to, by chance, I ran into an elderly couple on street. They very interesting. He is a graduate of Moscow Engineering Construction Institute, and his wife is a graduate of Moscow Architectural Institute. That is, you yourself understand. The people in the topic, they said that I am not a builder for the construction of such structures. This was the level of Moscow metro construction of design institutes, and Russians did it here, as they said, for which I understood for that. They explained it to me for a long time and popularly that there were engineering surveys, geological surveys. There was a need for serious design. You cannot do it with crowbar. Serious equipment had to work, and work done by Russians there. Well, okay, on to the question of who did it. So look at what happened. How to blow up those tunnels without the consent of Egypt. It's impossible, and Egyptians will obviously refuse. Why? Because the fact is that if you blow up such a tunnel, all buildings at the top will fly into air. And at the top, the Egyptians, I remind you, built a fence that is not single like Israelis, but triple in order for Hamas not to penetrate into Egypt, and so it will be blown to hell. The question arises, what to do about this? I am not a builder. I cannot say anything, but only way out is to fill Israeli side with concrete. It's time-consuming and expensive. And by the way, speaking to question, why do I say that now there is any talk of Israeli leftists that Netanyahu's main fault is that he has no plan for what to do with Gaza after war? I say, you understand, guys, that those plans after war can completely change. Now it's completely clear after those findings that Philadelphia corridor should be controlled by Israeli soldiers. Forces would be guarded at least until those rat holes are concreted and the possibility of delivering weapons and contraband there disappears. Yes, because every day probability that hostages are alive decreases, but no less likely there are now at least bodies being found. As for this video, as for Sasha, he is an Israeli with dual Russian and Israeli citizenship. Well, today I talked to Yuri Tabach about this topic. He said that is impossible to say when it was filmed. It's completely unrealistic. Understandable, Yura. And here, Hezbollah, having seen enough of fate of unfortunate Gazavites, this unfortunate Hamas doesn't really want to fight. They would be glad not to fight, but apparently there is a lot of responsibility before serious uncles. Probably a lot has been taken, and they will have to, and for some reason they are very counting on Egypt's help, that Egypt will support them. And why should Egypt be frightened to do that? This is completely unnecessary. Main task facing Egypt is to solve the problem with Houthis. Then their income from Suez Canal will be restored. This was, if my memory serves me correctly, in my opinion, 10% of GDP. Therefore, in this situation, it is not appropriate for Egypt to get involved in a long war with Israel, especially in open space, and accordingly, in this regard, they will not be able to count on Egypt's help, and moreover, Egypt will not want to quarrel with United States. Even Biden administration will keep Egypt from such a step. But you correctly note that Houthis have obligations to Ayatollah brood of Tehran. I deliberately do not say in front of Iranians because it is necessary to distinguish between Iranian people and Ayatollah brood. A week ago, I had more interesting interview with Abraham Shmulevich about Iran, and he very clearly showed that, in fact, 70% of Iranians are, to put it mildly, dissatisfied with the rule of Iranian Ayatollah. They support Houthis and they have obligations to those characters. And you know, I asked about Hezbollah. Now you started talking about Houthis and began to talk very correctly. Well, that is why Hezbollah, but they are not as fast as Hamas. Please tell me, because they seem to have the most, or not? Because in this situation, they understand perfectly well that effect of surprise is lost, and now they will have to attack head-on soldiers and well-fortified positions of Israeli army. And if they launch an offensive, then no one will stand in ceremony with them now. And yes, there is a war in the north. They will bomb us. We are delivering crushing blows to their positions. By the way, just recently in Syria, some unknown planes destroyed a caravan with weapons for Hezbollah, which I don't know, but some planes destroyed a caravan with weapons for Hezbollah. But this is the Middle East, the Holy Land, and here miracles happen. So that is why now Hezbollah doesn't really want to attack head-on. They want to live and meet them. And why is the world asking? In my opinion, this livestock has no reason to live. Let them go to 72 virgins. In conclusion, this is very correct on the issue of our activist Marina from Dnieper, and she writes that it is our duty as bloggers to conduct international broadcast, international communications with America. You work and I work with America, and you work with Russia. I work with Israel. I work with you and I work with Ukraine on the right side. It would be very good if your viewers and my viewers translated our broadcast into English, French, or other languages. Well, of course, we could do subtitles, but of course it would be better to do voiced simultaneous translation, so it would be better perceived. So if they did this and we would post, then the coverage would have been much greater. What you said is interesting, but unfortunately, not you nor I have the physical ability, because you understand, Sveta, this is very serious, but if you did this, the effect would be armor piercing. I remember well how 3 years ago one of my subscribers on the stream talked about a girl from Russia and raising money for her treatment is a classic of genre, and treatment was needed urgently. I made inquiries here and with Israeli doctors, and then one of my subscribers, he suggests, let's do this part of stream. I will just translate this idea synchronically, and he did it synchronously, translated everything I said, and we posted, and money were collected. But this is one example, and again, I'm leading to what if were enthusiasts who would do this, the coverage would be much greater. I say this seriously. I'm not joking, and I'm here, and I will consider you a listener that our proposal will be recognized. Just take our today's broadcast where you, Yuri, said a lot of useful things and send Yuri to me with Yuri or me with translation. But you know, Yuri, here, so problem arise. Maybe they will translate there. And how do we know what was translated there? Yes, okay. Nevertheless, this is cool. It will be interesting. Join our information struggle on right side of history, Yura. Thank you very much. As they say, Am Israel High. Well, no, here it's based on honesty. Am Israel High. Davinu High. See you, friends. Goodbye.